busy man. You got 3 phones over there. I
Yeah,
see
what's up?
too.
What's going on? What's
Is
going
is it hard to like know which phone is for which, or cause shoot?
No, because I have different cases that represent what the phone is for. That's the
Okay,
only way.
okay,
And I even got them textured, so if I'm in the dark or if the phones are in my pocket, I can feel the texture of the actual phone. So like this phone has like a
that's
rigid
sweet.
texture.
Uh,
No, it's just a rigid texture on the back.
okay,
And then that way I could see, I could feel it, and I could say, okay, that's the Enviyon phone. Then this one is like got the smooth texture. I could say, okay, that's my personal phone. And this one got this little silver thing in the back, the magnetic.
hmm
And I know like, oh, okay, that's the business phone. So it's like whatever. But anyway.
that's crazy. You like Batman, man. But hey, y'all, welcome to Out of Sight in Mind. Happy New Year, happy 2025. I'm your host, Jace. You feel me? I know we've been gone for a minute, but it's been the holidays, and y'all already know how that could be. But we here for the new year, and it's gonna be a lot of stuff that's gonna come y'all way. With me today, y'all, I'm with someone very, very special. It's actually funny. This has been something that we've been planning, but really happened on the fly. I got Will from Enviyon, y'all.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No,
Appreciate
for
it.
sure. I'm definitely glad to just have you here, man. How you feeling today?
I'm good, bro. I'm good, bro. Just like you said, bringing in the new year the right way. Really, just thinking of, what are some of the ways that I can, make my mind think a little bit further than what we're already used to, especially when you start getting into comfort zones. Comfort zones is the things that I fear the most.
Mm, yeah.
Being already feeling like you good, feeling like you don't need to do anything else, that's the worst thing, because then when opportunities do come, you scared to take them because you like, I don't really need that or
Mm,
whatever the case. So that's one of my biggest things this year is no more comfort. It's time to turn up. It's
yeah.
not a matter of being ungrateful. It's just a matter of saying, hey, there's other opportunities out there. There's other things that we could be working on.
Yeah, no, I feel like that's where a lot of people get caught up within themselves is just getting too comfortable because it's just like, let's just say with work,
Yep.
anything outside of work, just anything in general, if you get too comfortable, you'll get lazy and then it'll just be like that's your lifestyle and it's just like, is
Mm-hmm.
this really what you want to get stuck with doing for like your whole entire life? So it's just like
Mm-hmm.
don't get too comfortable like Future said. But okay, I mean, for someone of like just your stature, you feel me? Let's just go to like your beginning, you feel me? Because like I feel like everyone within the city, the Chicagoland area, have like heard the name Envion, just
Mm-hmm.
like radio and everything like that. But like, let's just start with like you, your upbringing, your origin.
Okay. So too far, upbringing, of course, born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. Graduated from DeSable High School on the low end, right across the street from the projects. Okay. After that, I ended up actually going to the military. I did a few years in the Navy.
Mm,
Lived in California for a little bit. Traveled, seen some things, seen different countries. I'm actually a war veteran. I was in Iraq
oh
during
damn.
wartime. I'm a little older, this was the late 90s, I'm a little older, but experienced some of that, came back to Chicago. You know how it is. I mean, maybe a lot of people don't know how it is, but when you come out the military and you come back here, which is why a lot of people stay in, is usually not a lot of opportunities because the things that you learn there, unless you learn how to transition them here, you get out and there's not really. I mean, what jobs can you go get to learning how to create explosives and board boats and things like that?
Yeah.
It ain't too many jobs out there unless you stay in and be a Navy SEAL or something. But I got out. I was an engineer which is crazy because I ended up being a music engineer
Yeah.
out here, and I had no clue. But I was actually a mechanical engineer in the military, so I learned how to do air conditioning, refrigeration, build engines, and things like that. That was my passion. I thought I was going to be just building engines. That's what I wanted to do. And I got out the military. I went to Lincoln Technical Institute, went to school for a couple years, college. I never went to actual university because I went to the military. Got
Yeah.
out, took classes, working on cars. Got a job at AutoZone right there on 87th and the Dan Ryan. I
Yeah.
was a part sales manager there. It was hilarious. And I'm gonna work on cars. I'm gonna work on cars. I would work on people's cars in the back alleys. People would come up to AutoZone like, man, you know how to put an alternator in? I'm like, yeah, I could put an alternator in. And I would put their alternators in. But then over time, bro, I got tired of it. I
Yeah.
got tired of my hands, knuckles breaking in the cold winter. I got tired of trying to get jobs at dealerships, which is where all the big money is at. But I
Yeah.
wasn't ASC qualified. I wasn't ASC certified. And a lot of those jobs don't just open up. You got to know somebody to get in. And over time, I was like, bro, I'm not going to be an alley mechanic forever. So long story short, I ended up losing my job at AutoZone, just being young and not being responsible there. And I ended up just going to work at UPS, throwing packages, making $9 an hour, loading trucks. I did that, but it wasn't enough money, so I said I need to get a second job. Worked at Long John Silver's for a little while. So I was cooking fish in the back of Long John Silver's. This is roughly 2005.
I'm
right
like,
now.
hey, Long
Okay,
John
just
Silver
on
not
some-
around no more,
Just
but
on
if
some
you
time
know,
frame thing. Long John Silver's is one in Matson. It's right up the street.
they still open.
It's still open.
Okay,
So
good.
I'm working at Long John Silver's in the day, working at UPS at night, $9 an hour. Long John, I was making like $6.50 an hour. Doing that for a little while. End up getting fired at Long John's because I had a fight with somebody at the store. Had to go to Kmart on 95th and Cicero. Worked there for a little while. Is it Cicero? No, 95th and Pulaski.
I was like,
They not
Pulaski.
there no
I'm
more.
like, yeah, no, they
They
closed
not.
down.
It's an Amazon there now. Amazon produce.
Nope.
Worked there for a little bit. Pushing carts outside in the rain, in the snow. We at about 2005 right now. But I'm still at UPS. I had been there for 3 years. They offered me a full-time position, finally. Cool. I quit Kmart. I'm done pushing carts. I worked full-time at UPS. And honestly, I just kept advancing through UPS. I did that up until, bro, I ain't gonna lie, I did that up until 2017.
Damn.
So I worked at UPS for 15 years, okay? In all of that time frame. In 2000, but here, just to go back, during the Navy, I was making beats on little beat machines.
That's dope.
Me and my homies would do little raps in the cafeteria on the boat, things like that. But it was all
crazy.
fun and games. Got out the military, came home, bought a little computer, a little beat machine in my spare time when I'm not working, playing on the keyboard, making beats. That's how I started, making beats. That was my passion. I didn't want to do nothing but make beats. So, but I didn't have Fruity Loops. I manually had to play the beat, and record like the beat, like the tempo, manual stuff. Anyway, long story short, bro, I wanted to get my beats to people's hands. So I said, man, the only way to get beats to people's hands, you got to remember, it wasn't a big YouTube society at this time, right? The only way to do it is to give them an example of what this song could sound like. So I would rap on top of my beats, and I would burn them on disc, and I would give them to people and say, man, check this beat out. I rapped on it. This is how I came on it. This is how you could come on it. That was my strategy to sell my beats, by rapping on them and then marketing them as a potential great song that you could use, right? Not me trying to be a rapper. Long story short, I wanted to make myself sound better. So I end up buying Pro Tools because I was like, man, I got to make my vocals and stuff sound better, make my beats sound better. Long story short, I ended up being an engineer in the process because I was learning how to engineer without really trying to be an engineer, but I was teaching myself in the long run. This started about 2008 when I got real serious. It was like 2009. That's when I put my trademark in. And then in 2010, I officially had a business, a company of where we call Enviyon. Okay, it wasn't doing anything yet because I was still working at UPS. I did that for 7 years, and in 2017, that's when I quit UPS. So for 7 years, I had to work that job, pay for that company, and eventually the company was able to say, okay, I can sustain myself without working the job, and that's kind of the story.
Okay.
I know I skipped a lot, but I'm trying to
Yeah,
go
no.
quick.
So it's just like I'm already knowing like the timeline and everything is everywhere, but it's just like there was still like some main like points of your life where it's just like everything made sense. So just going back to like your time in the military and like coming back home, just making that transition and finding work and stuff like that. Did you feel like the country owed you anything for like putting in your time of service for what you did? Okay.
No, I mean I'm still in my young 20s at this time. I'm not thinking in a mature way. I'm not thinking in a way of the things, the opportunities and the benefits that I could have got. There were some things that was available to me, but I was so ready to just get out that I really didn't want to have nothing to do with it. You know, of course, they had stuff like GI bills and free education and all that stuff. I'm really just now starting to take advantage of some of those opportunities that I didn't take advantage of then, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. But at the time, no, I didn't feel like that. I just felt like I'm out. I got to get it. Ain't nobody here to help me. I just got to do what I got to do.
Okay, so no, all right. So moving on with like you just want to be like making beats and stuff like that. How did that just come about? being a significant part of your life?
Um, well, because I've always had a thing for music. If I want to go back to like, honestly, bro, in high school, I played the bass in high school. I took piano classes in high school. All that stuff I was just always, I think, naturally kind of having a magnet to music. I love
Yeah.
music. I'm one of those type of people that can hear a song and learn the words immediately. So I've always had a good memory. Learned how to play by ear first. I never like read notes, but I can play the bass with sheet music. I could play the piano with sheet music. I learned all of that good stuff, and I was actually in the orchestra in high school where we traveled to different schools to compete with them. So like in graduations, I was out there playing the bass and with the band and all that good stuff. So
That's
that
dope.
I would say that's where it started,
Okay.
like actively playing music and being part of musical groups and clubs in school.
Yeah.
And then from there, I kind of took that a little step. I just kept doing it, and then now I'm like, all right, let me make some beats. I think it really just kind of started eighth grade. That's when I first got really into like I had an opportunity to play in a band or play
Yeah.
in an orchestra
Yeah.
or something like that.
Okay. And at that time, did it like even, let's just say, music being a career, was that ever even an
Absolutely
idea?
not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Not even close.
Yeah.
No, not even fathoming it. Because again, I honestly, I'm not going to say it was an accident because I think that God put things in place for a certain reason. Sometimes we don't know why. But I will say that, like I said, when I first started or kind of took it a little more seriously, when I was in my garage, how it actually happened was I would be in the garage making my beats and doing my stuff. And since the garage was hot, I would always open up my garage door and I would have my music playing, and the music would come out my garage door, and people walking past, neighbors would be like, "Oh, you got a little studio in there?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, a little setup, my own little personal thing.
Yeah.
It ain't nothing for y'all. It's just for me. It's
Yeah.
just my thing, my personal space. Get out." And then eventually people start saying stuff like, "Man, can you record me? You know how to record, right?" And I'm like, "Well, I guess because I record myself, but I didn't intend for me to be recording y'all. I just do
Yeah.
it for me. It's
Yeah.
my personal hobby." They're like, "No, bro, let me record me, bro." I'm like, "I guess. How much you want?" "I don't know, bro. Bring me a 6-pack of beer. Seriously, just bring me some." Because I didn't think it was a business. I thought it
Right.
was just something that you had fun.
Right.
And man, but just give me $20, bro. I don't care. Just whatever. Because I didn't even know how to price it. I had no overhead. I had no reason to charge. So it was just like, all right, bro, and then they would come back. "Hey, can you record me again?" And I'm like, "I guess." Then he would bring 2, 3 people with him.
Yeah.
And then there they see, "Oh, you got a studio in the garage?" "Yeah, I guess." "How much you charge?" "I don't know, $20.
Man.
Literally just like that. And then next thing you know, my hourly rate was 25 an hour. And I started recording everybody in the neighborhood. And they would keep coming and keep coming. Then it went up to 30 an hour because now I got to invest. Now I got to go buy new headphones because now they breaking my headphones. My speakers ain't loud enough. I'm realizing all the problems because now I got people coming and telling me, "Hey man, I hear some squeaking noise," or, "Hey, these headphones." All right, now I got to go buy some headphones. Now I gotta raise rates because now I gotta invest. And that's how it started.
Man.
Then I said, all right, maybe I should like create a name for this place. Created a name, like, let me trademark it. Don't know how to do that, but all right, I trademarked it. I spent a little $400. Boom, that came back in 6, 7 months. All right, I guess I got a trademarked company. Did the LLC. Did the LLC twice, actually. The first time I did, I didn't go back. I didn't pay for my registered agent. I wasn't filing my taxes. I wasn't doing my stuff. State of Illinois dissolved my company. So this is the second time Enviyon has come around. The first time, completely failed. Tried it, didn't work, didn't know how to do the paperwork. Nobody was there. It dissolved. So in 2010, Enviyon came along. State of Illinois dissolved it. You ain't pay your taxes. You ain't do your boom, boom, boom. 2012, got it back going.
Damn.
So I actually took a 2-year break.
Yeah.
Because I was like, man, forget this. Forget this music stuff. I was like, forget it. I'm done. I had a job. I didn't need it. I was comfortable. I didn't need it, bro. I was making good money at UPS. Man, forget that stuff. And guess who constantly, the same people. "Bro, why you stop, bro?" "Man, I ain't got time for that." "Man, bro, just come. All right, bro, I got you, bro." And then when I would do it, I found the love again for it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, I actually enjoy doing this. I don't know why I stopped anyway.
Yeah.
And then I never stopped. That's how it works.
Hey, shout out to all the people that told him to just like why you stopped, because it's like if it wasn't for them, I mean, like, because you like, do you even recognize like how many great people like have come throughout
For sure.
the studio and stuff
For
like
sure.
that, like,
For sure.
and then not even just had one but two studios, y'all, like, well, doing it big. So how did it come about, like actually getting like the first studio? Is it this one or the other one?
So Studio A is the first studio. So it's probably more of a tragic story, if anything.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna say a tragic story. I'm gonna say a sacrifice, because I was in my garage and now I got all these people coming. So guess where they're parking their cars at? In front of other people's garages.
Right.
So my neighbors started to complain about the music. They started to complain about people parking in front of their garage. So I realized I couldn't really sustain this and do it here, and I got irritated. So I said I need to go look for me a space. I never had a actual business space, so I had nothing. I had no clue what commercial business was like. Long story short, I went around. I checked. I would get in my car and drive around. I went to Blue Island, Calumet City. I went everywhere I could think of, bro, and couldn't like find somebody to give me a lease. Well, I ended up finding one right here in Country Club Hills, Studio A, my first one. I saw the sign for a lease. Called the guy. He said, "Come on by." He came by. He looked at me. He said, "You ever had a business before?" I was like, "No, not really, but I work a good job." And, he was like, "I'm going to give you a chance." That's what he said. He said, "I'm going to give you a chance." He said, "Rent is $1,100 a month. I need my this at first." This is then. This is 2010. Y'all know it ain't that much.
I'm like, shoot.
He said, "Rent is $1,100 a month. I need a deposit. How much you got now?" I said, "I got like $3,000 saved up." He said, I was lucky.
Oh,
He said,
bro.
"I'm gonna take your $3,000." But I'm like, "All right, cool." I pay him the $3,000. He said, "Rent due next month, $1,100." I was like, "All right, cool." So I had this space, but it was nothing in the space. I had to put equipment in the space. Now I could go to my garage and take whatever was in my garage and put it in this space, but I got a whole building. It wasn't a whole building. It was a nice 800 square foot space. How you gonna take garage equipment and throw it in the 800? It just looked tacky.
Right.
And I was like, nah, this ain't gonna look right. I need to put stuff in it. So I had to make a choice: either continue to pay my mortgage or invest money into equipment and pay for this space. And I stopped paying my mortgage, bro.
Man.
I know that was crazy. I don't recommend nobody do that. But I guess I didn't care. I was like, bro, I already got this place. I already got to pay this lease. I got to get him $1,100 a month. I got to pay my mortgage. That's another $1,100 a month. I'm working a job. I'm making enough to pay a little bit, but I can't do both, bro. I can't pay both and buy new equipment. I stopped paying my mortgage. The money that I would have paid for my mortgage, I was buying equipment. And in about 8 months, I had enough new equipment to say I'm officially open. So for 8 months, I was paying light, gas, insurance, electricity, AET alarm, whatever, water bill. I had to pay for that stuff, even though the space wasn't really open. But I had it, but I couldn't. It wasn't operatable. So long story short, bro, for 8 months, I paid for that studio, and I eventually went into foreclosure, and I had to go and find a little apartment, and I lost my house. That's 7 years of bad credit in the process. I couldn't really get an apartment. They wanted $5,000 down just to move somewhere. If you get a foreclosure, it's gonna hurt you.
Yeah.
Long story short, that's how Studio A came about.
Man, that's crazy. So, how long would you say it took to at least like recuperate and then like just be like, surprise, Studio B, like studio number 2, coming about?
Well, it was never. Well, it took some years to recuperate because we talking about maxing out credit cards.
Yeah.
We talking about going all the way down to the bottom. But when you at the bottom, you ain't got nothing to lose. So just keep going. Like, I'm already at the bottom. I'm already down.
Yeah.
I done lost the crib. I ain't got really no bread. I still got this job, luckily. Hey, just keep going. Just keep going. I'm already out. What I'm gonna stop now for? So I just kept going. I took out a little loan, went in my 401k, took $12,000 out my 401k. They penalized me $2,000 for going into the 401k because you're not supposed to go into your 401k.
Yeah.
So I had to take $12,000 out just so I can get $10,000. To take the $10,000 to try to recoup some of the debt that I had increased So these are all little things that I had to do to kind of get out the hole. And at the time, I was thinking, I don't care about 401k. I care about right now. At the time, I was thinking, I don't care about what happens at 65. I care about today. I care about today, And in a way, I still think like that. I still think that, we can. Don't get me wrong. Investing in your future is important. But if you're gonna live a whole life of misery and then expect to be okay at 65, by the time inflation catches up and the cost of living, by the time we turn 65, bro, it's gonna be so outrageous that Social Security and I don't know if 401k gonna be enough. So my mind was, I don't care about later. I
Yeah.
need to get on now. And I made the sacrifice and said, fuck it, I don't care. Excuse my language.
Oh no, you good. You already know we can allow any type of language here. So it's just like, man, it's just so dope just to see like how much you believed in the dream and like just where you started and like how it went because you saw like every step of the way and just where it is today.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Moving up just like throughout your career, did you know the hype behind certain artists that were coming through here? Like let's just go Queen Key.
Well, you gotta keep something in mind. I will say, for the most part, most of the artists that I have worked with, a lot of successful artists, are from the Chicagoland area, and you got to keep in mind. But when I was in it, it was during the start of a lot of the Chicago artists blowing up. So I was working with people like Tink, Dreezy, G Herbo came to the garage, but you got to remember they weren't famous yet.
They were just like
They
starting.
were still kind of getting going. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of them had some clout, but it was clout. You feel me? It was like, yeah, I know who that is, but they weren't like where they are now.
Yeah.
Even like Queen Key first started, just started rapping. She's like, I don't. Came to the studio. I was like, come on, let's. I'm starting. We all starting, bro. Like nobody's like too big for anything, and I saw all of them take off. I seen the process. I seen all of them, I mean, I don't. It's so many people to name, but I was there when they were taking off,
Yeah.
and that kind of motivated me to be like, I got to take off too. Shit, I see what they doing. They investing. They putting their hard work and their energy into what they believe. I got to put my energy into what I believe. So it was kind of like everybody kind of grew together type of deal. At least that's how I see it.
Yeah. No, that's definitely a dope way to see it. And plus, like, just coming up for you speaking, how was just like music in the city like back then to like growing to like the start of the drill era and just like where it is now?
I think that it was very exciting then. I think right now, it could be a little frowned upon by some people. I'll say this: I think that the current like let's just say the drill era, because that's like one of the most prominent things that have happened to Chicago over the last, I'm gonna say 15 years. But during the 2010, 2011 drill era, you got to understand, I was still freshly new. I wasn't well versed enough to even understand the impact that it was making. Right?
Yeah.
I just knew I love recording, and he know how to rap, and we're all gonna just do it together. But it was very exciting to see these new artists coming into the studio and coming in and recording and doing stuff, and it was just all interesting, and everybody just had a very like-minded thought process. Now don't get me wrong, what came with that was a lot of the gang banging shit that came with it too. That's when you start seeing where it was like the murders and all that extra.
It got a little too real.
That's when it got too real, the ops and all that. But at first, it was not like that.
Yeah.
It was exciting. Everybody was kind of working together. People was mingling with each other. Don't get me wrong. Chicago has always been known for neighborhoods and gangs and separation in that sense. But it wasn't really in the music. And then drill kind of like brought it in the music. And then when it got more serious, then you started to see what the drill was actually doing. So back then, I would say it was more exciting. Now it's more like we already know what it's targeted to do. Like now, I don't necessarily know if it's created to be a music. It's more created to be a statement instead of, and it kind of left what it was musically, if that makes any sense. That's just
Yeah.
my observation today based on what I witnessed in the past.
Yeah, no, I definitely get you. Weren't you even making a drill song?
When?
I, I feel like pretty recent I saw on the Instagram like you just saw like certain words and stuff. So I'm just like,
So so I did actually create a song. I don't, again, I if anything, it's more funny to me because again I still love to do music, but I made a song and I called it RN, for retired nigga. Instead of YN, it was RN for
that's
retired
amazing.
nigga, right? So
That's
it was
amazing.
RN, and in the song, I used the drill beat, Chucky Wackham type beat, whatever. No, seriously,
That's
listen,
what it
this
was.
is on Spotify right now. You can go listen to it. But look,
I'm literally looking
so,
it
but
up.
if you listen to my lyrics, I'm not in there talking about some, I hit him up, wet him up, got the blick, caught him at the gas station, hit his grandma because I couldn't catch him. I ain't saying that. I'm talking about how, if we don't get shit together, how this is going to be the consequences. And so I kind of did a spinoff
You
of
trying to
like,
put everybody on game type.
correct. I did a
Yeah.
spinoff talking about shit like the IRS is actually the real ops and things like that. Like
The stuff
these.
that we really need to be hearing.
That's the stuff that I'm talking about in the song, but I'm coming off on a drill type of feel. Now, I don't necessarily expect it to go anywhere or to do anything or for anybody to actually take heed to it, but for me, it's fun. So if you
Hey,
want to listen to it, feel free. I don't really care. It's just,
definitely gotta check it out. Shout out all the RNs out there that be trying to put the
all the
YNs on
RNs, the
game.
RNs need to step up, man.
No, for
Need to
real.
step up. It's like the YNs that then came in and took over the place, and the RNs is just sitting back and they scared to say anything and scared to take a move. And what I consider the RN is a person who has knowledge and is knowledgeable enough to understand the differences between what is going on and what people are doing and the decisions that they're making versus the consequences. And the RNs know this because they've been through it, but they're not willing to share the information because they're afraid to share it because the YNs don't care and they're not listening to nobody. And the reason why the YNs ain't listening to nobody because they looking at a lot of the RNs and saying, "Man, look, you didn't make it. You still doing the same shit that you see what I'm saying? Like it's really hard to look up to people where either they left and left you behind, right? Even though they know better, but they still left you behind, or they still doing the same shit that they 50, 60 years old, still doing the same shit. And you 20 years old and you like he ain't getting nowhere, so why would I listen to him? They have a lot of reasons for their thought processes.
Yep.
The YNs, I'm gonna say. They have a lot of good, valid reasons for their thought processes. But I do think that there's better ways to do things besides the way that it's currently being done. And they ain't got no guidance, you know?
Yeah. What's your thoughts on crashing out?
My thoughts on crashing out?
Yeah.
I think crashing out is just honestly just kind of a way to get attention. And it's a way to express yourself when I personally don't think that you know a better way to express yourself. So I'm gonna use this for example. People who curse a lot, they curse a lot because they don't have a good enough vocabulary to express themselves without saying a curse word. That's just an example, right? So if you know somebody who constantly saying "fuck this shit" and that motherfucking that nigga came to, it's like, can you actually not curse? Like, have you tried not to? And a
Yeah.
lot of people who curse a lot can't because they never learned how to do it. So I guess my point is, people who the crash out music might just be an example of I don't know any other way to express myself, and this is what I see on TV. This is what I hear from the previous rappers who have been successful by doing this. So this is what I'm gonna do, and that's all I know. So that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I think it is. I don't know. I mean, I don't agree with it. I think it doesn't make any sense to me personally. But hey,
Yeah. But what last words would you just have to give out to the people? Because I feel like a lot of people, like, I feel like if they just dig deeper into, like, just your story, like, what last gems could you give them other than just, like, follow the dream? Because,
yeah, that sounds cliche. I get it. Honestly, just kind of really learn. I would say that right now the world is in an identity crisis, and everybody. I'm not gonna say everybody, but I'm gonna say a high percentage of the generation that has the best opportunity for success, which is the generation below me, right? That generation has the best opportunity for success because they're smarter, they have more access to things, they have more they understand things that a lot of the older generations don't. They can't even fathom the computer and the technology and the communications that your generation and below can. I
Yeah.
would just say that the identity crisis is what's causing the problem. If everybody just really tap into who they really are personally and just really just say, who am I? What do I want? Instead of looking around and saying, well, that's how they is, so that's how I'm gonna be. If we get rid of the identity crisis, I think that we'll see more success amongst a lot of the cultures and the communities because people will more so listen to who they are instead of just being like somebody else. I'll use, for example, don't get me wrong, I ain't knocking it, but like when I was in my younger 20s, we all had braids, right?
Yeah.
Everybody had braids, right? We all wanted to look alike and be alike. And then now, when you get a little older, you realize, like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to look like him. I don't want to look like them. I don't
Yeah.
want to be like them. When you get older, when you look at right now, everybody got dreads, right? Everybody looks alike. You can't even identify people from people. Four guys walk in the room, they all look exactly the same.
Right.
Does that make sense? Well, the identity crisis to me is, why do you have that? Or do you have it because you actually enjoy it? Do you have that because you grew up around it? Do you have some type of cultural background that makes sense for you to have it? I know I didn't. I just
Yeah.
picked up on what I saw everybody else doing. That's what I did. And then later, hitting 30 is when I realized this is not who I am. I'm supposed to be doing this. And then when you find your true self, that's when you start seeing success. So I would just say, it don't matter. Don't get me wrong. It don't matter what you wear. It don't matter how your hair is. But know who you are inside and go for that. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing and what's in store for them. Worry about who you are. And I think that's ultimately the secret to success.
Nah, facts. But I'm definitely glad I was able to just get you here, Will. It's definitely something we was talking about, and I'm glad we was just able to do this, and you just give the people some gems.
For sure.
Definitely, y'all. If y'all need a recording space, podcast, even like music studio, definitely check out Enviyon. They'll take care of you. They care about their artists. But this is Out of Sight in Mind. If y'all like this interview, leave a like, comment, subscribe, follow us on the IG. Will, you got a IG you want people to follow you at?
Yeah, just Enviyon_studios. Follow the company. Y'all don't need to follow me. I ain't important. I'm just a regular guy. But my personal Instagram is Will from Enviyon, so it's real easy to find. Otherwise, follow Enviyon Studios.
Bro. But we'll be back with another one, y'all.
Appreciate it.